a world where the number of movies available is great, but many are so bad. You'll learn a new definition of hate. One man sifts and reviews through the movie sludge. One man will be the movie cop, jury, and judge. He goes by many names, but you know him by Movies Merica.
Listeners of Movies Merica, lives you have lived, boneless wings you have eaten, Netflix and chillin' have you done. But today is a day of ending, a day of remembering movies watched, movies experienced. For like the warrior Ron Burgundy in his reign in San Diego come to an end, so shall Movies Merica's revisiting of the one trilogy to rule them all end. On this day, a triumphant day, I didn't even have to use my AK. Today is a great day. Roll that intro. Hey, all you beautiful movie-loving people out there, live from a red carpet somewhere, surrounded by celebrities. This is the Movies Merica podcast with Van Ebert, where movie reviews meet cold brews. Van will review your favorite and maybe not so favorite movies while enjoying some ice-cold beers and saying cheers. Now let's head into the theater and join our illustrious movie reviewer du jour, who's no doubt got the beer ready to pour, Van Ebert. Hey there, everybody. Hey, welcome in, as always, to this latest episode of Movies Merica podcast. Yes, you are always welcome in here, and I'm honored that you have joined me here today. Absolutely. So, and I can't believe it, but the way I feel every single time I watch the entire Lord of the Rings trilogy, at the end I always look back and just marvel at how fast it went. And now this time I didn't just watch the trilogy, I watched it again, the extended versions in 4K, and I'm doing a revisiting podcast episodes for all three movies, and it seems like I just started like 5 seconds ago. And here we are at the end of all things Lord of the Rings. And so with that here, since this is the end, this must be the third installment of Peter Jackson's one trilogy to rule them all. And that third installment would be called The Return of the King.
The eye of the enemy is moving.
The end has come.
Every day, Frodo moves closer to Mordor. How do we know Frodo is alive? What does your heart tell you?
Come, Master. Come to Smeagol. This is your test. Every path you have trod through wilderness, through war, has led to this road.
The enemy will never let Aragorn come to the throne of Gondor.
It is time. Give him the sword of the king.
Become who you were born to be.
The precious will be ours.
He means to murder us! I'm not sending him away. Come to me.
The order set. The pieces are moving.
He is here.
We come to it at last.
I see in your eyes the same fear that would take the heart of me. A day may come when the courage of man fails, when we forsake our friends and break all bonds of fellowship. But it is not this day.
Whatever happens, stay with me.
This day We fight!
All you have to decide is what to do with the time that is given to you.
We shall see the Shire again.
You gave away your life's grace. I cannot protect you anymore.
We cannot achieve victory through strength of arms.
Not for ourselves.
But we can give Frodo a chance.
No other has adapted J.R. Tolkien like that since this one trilogy to rule them all. Some have tried, but they have failed. But before we get into the revisiting of The Return of the King, let me tell you, of course, that these Movies Merica episodes are on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and many other platforms where you find fine podcast episodes, you bet. And if you're on Apple Podcasts, feel free to zip on down to the very bottom of all the episodes, and there are 5 fantastic, tantalizing stars that you can click on that 5th star there to give me a 5-star rating if you so desire. And then also there's a write a review button there you can click on to give me a review. Now, no one says that, the review has to be like, New Testament length. It can be a few words of positivity or a few words of constructive criticism. That's perfectly fine. Just be honest, and that is all I ask, absolutely. And then you can zip right all the way back to the very tippy top, and you take a look at the 3 dots, the ellipsis, and underneath that there's a follow the show option. Go ahead and click on that, and that'll download all the Movies Merica fantabulous episodes automatically there for you. Okay. And also all the episodes are on moviesmerica.com if you don't feel like listening to them on a podcast player. And then also I'm on social media on Twitter and Instagram under Movies Merica. I also have a Facebook page, also, of course, called Movies Merica. Boy, if I could stammer that out there. Okay, all right. Before I get any more tongue-tied, hey, let me get into the beer for this evening because, as you know, Movies Merica is the home where movie reviews meets ice-cold brews. And not a whole lot of imagination on my part for tonight's beer, I will grant you that. It's probably because, well, actually, it's definitely because yours truly forgot to go out and get some exotic beer or more exotic beer. And so I am going with what I always have in stock in ye old fridge, and that is Dos Equis. Oh, yes, the double X, the Dos Equis. And it is going to keep me icy, cold, and refreshed during this Lord of the Rings, Return of the King Revisited. And let me get into, because it's we've got a journey on our hands here. So I'm going to get a good chug off of this Dos Equis real quick, just to wet the whistle. All right. Goes down smooth, that's for sure. All right. So, The Lord of the Rings, The Return of the King, part of my favorite all-time movie trilogy. It's the conclusion of my all-time favorite movie trilogy. And this movie had some, modest box office success, some modest critical success. I mean, it only won 11 Oscars, including Best Picture and Best Director. I mean, but other than that, what can it claim to have won, right? I mean, 11 piddly Oscars, come on. So yeah, this is part of pop culture. Okay, this is a major part of our zeitgeist. Okay, and not just in America, but all around the world. This is a beloved trilogy all around the world. There's Lord of the Ring, Peter Jackson, Lord of the Ring, internet groups and internet pages and fan clubs and just all kinds of just fanship. And obviously there was, Tolkien fans long before these movies came out because obviously, The Hobbit and The Lord of the Rings came out long before these movies were a thing. But yeah, this is just a beloved franchise for sure. So it's just required viewing, I think, if you have a heartbeat. And like I mentioned before, I did watch the extended versions of these because to me, as I've said before, that the extended versions are the way to go. That's the way to watch this trilogy because there are some scenes where they should have kept it in the theatrical version because it wraps up some things that the theatrical version just kind of just lets float out there in the ether, and you're just like, okay, I don't know what happens, but all right, thanks for not wrapping that up. So, but I mean, it's got some fun scenes, the extended scenes, the fun scenes like Legolas and Gimli and Eomer. They're playing a drinking game after they're celebrating after they win the Battle of Helm's Deep and they're back at Edoras, just partying up. You got another scene where Aragorn resurrects Eowyn. I mean, it's just a beautiful scene. It was just a great song behind it. Just gets you right there. Gets you right there, man. And then you've got another scene. This is a scene that I really think they should have kept in. I mean, it's just imperative. They should have kept it in the theatrical version. And this is where Aragorn and company meet the mouth of Sauron at the Black Gate, like just this grotesque-looking character that represents, the big baddie of Sauron. And something happens, pretty abruptly, and Gimli has a great line at the end of the scene. Guess that concludes negotiations. Just John Rhys Davies just delivers that line just great as Gimli, just fantastically as Gimli. You've got Aragorn. He attempts to do a little trash talking to Sauron through the Palantir. The big orb, the little ball with all the scary imagery, the scary Sauron eye in it. So yeah, the Palantir. We got Eowyn and Faramir kindling their relationship, their budding love. I'm assuming that's kind of the impression that they give to viewers that they are going to be a thing. So if not, I'm shipping Eowyn and Faramir. Come on, Faramir and Eowyn. They deserve a little happiness. Yes. And then you've got the death of Saruman. I mean, that's the other scene that they definitely should have had. That's actually probably the extended version scene that they left out that they needed the most in the theatrical version, because in the theatrical version, when Gandalf and Aragorn and Legolas and company, they get to Isengard after Treebeard and his tree buddies have just torn apart Isengard and flooded it, and they're just just enjoying their defeat. And then Saruman is up in the tower of Isengard. And in the theatrical version, I think Aragorn or somebody says, we have a wizard to deal with. We should go up there and kill him, or something to that effect. And Gandalf is just like, nope, just leave him be. He has no power anymore. Just let him chill up there. You're like, what? Like, that's how you're gonna leave Saruman? And in the extended versions, they have a scene that closes the book on Saruman and wraps up the evil character that is Saruman so much better, where he's slapping around snake worm or worm snake or whatever. Grima Wormtongue, that's it. Grima Wormtongue. They're up on top of the tower of Isengard, and he's slapping around Grima Wormtongue, and Grima Wormtongue isn't having it. He's pissed off, and so he stabs Saruman, and then Legolas shoots an arrow into Wormtongue, and then Saruman ends up falling off the top of the tower and gets impaled gets killed, right? And wraps up neatly the evil character, the prominent evil character of Saruman from the first two movies, instead of just leaving it out into the wind, like in the theatrical versions. I mean, that's the way to go, So yeah, now I don't know what happened to Grima Wormtongue. Theoden, before Saruman, bought it, Theoden was trying to talk Grima Wormtongue down, like, hey, come on, you will be spared. You weren't always this slimy piece of crap that you are now. You can be redeemed. But yeah, I guess that's one thing that even the extended versions kind of leave up in the air. It's like, oh, what do? They just leave Grima Wormtongue up there on top of the tower? He's dead. But as far as the theatrical version, getting into that, scenes that were also in the theatrical version, as you know, this movie begins with the finding of the ring by not Smeagol, but by Smeagol's buddy Deagle. And they have the scene where Smeagol kills his buddy Deagle and rides a golden eagle. No, I'm kidding. I just wanted to rhyme. It's not. And ends up killing his buddy, over the ring. And then they have this dark and creepy sequence where they show Smeagol get taken over by the ring and deteriorate into this creepy Gollum that we all know and loathe. And then you see, break to the current day, and Frodo and Sam are traveling on, risking death from Gollum after they're released from Osgiliath by Faramir. So they're always just having to look, over their back, or just to make sure they don't get throttled by the slimy Gollum here. And then of course they have kind of a more lighthearted sequence where you've got Gandalf and Aragorn and company, and they arrive in Isengard to find Merry and Pippin. They're getting the bacon. Oh yeah, they're over there and they're just getting smoked out. They got Snoop Dogg joining them there for nice bong of long bottom leaf. Just waking and baking. And okay, maybe Snoop Dogg's not in there, but that would have been kind of cool. But yeah, so they're just sitting there, they're partying, they're getting into Saruman's pantry, all his food, because face it, he's not going to need it anymore. And so then, of course, Gimli shows up there as well, and he's like, "We find you here drinking and smoking." Yeah, I just love it how Pippin's like, "And the salted pork is quite good." And Gimli's like, "Salted pork?" he's just licking his chops like, "Oh God, I've been fighting orcs at the Battle of Helm's Deep. I think I am entitled to some salted pork." Yes, I mean, aren't we all? I think we all are entitled to some good old, delectable, tasty salted pork. You bet. So then, they cut to Edoras, where, everybody who won the Battle of Helm's Deep is partying down. They got the jukebox going, and they're playing the big Jenga game. And okay, they're not doing any of that stuff, but yeah, they're getting their drinky on. Like I said, they have the drinking game, and everyone's just having a good time, unwinding. They've earned it, And then they go into they got the sequence where Pippin and the Palantir, and he just can't resist looking at it. And as Pippin tends to do foolish stuff, and then of course the Eye of Sauron sees him, and the Eye of Sauron thinks that Pippin has the ring, and so they have to get Pippin out of the city, out of Edoras, to keep from endangering everybody. And so that's when Gandalf grabs Pippin and hightails it to Minas Tirith, and there's a kind of a sad farewell, between Pippin and Merry. And Merry's like, "Why do you always have to mess with everything?" And but anyway, so yeah, Gandalf and Pippin, they actually get to Minas Tirith. I always screw that name up. And that's like the biggest city of men in Middle Earth there in Gondor. And that's when they proceed to, or at least Gandalf proceeds to set Denethor straight, because Denethor is like the steward of the king there. He's not the king of Gondor. He's just a steward, just a glorified custodian, just watching the throne. But Denethor doesn't quite think of himself that way. He's like, forget this, this custodian crap. Okay, forget this steward crap. I'm the king. And, Gandalf sets him straight and lets him know that, we got this guy, Aragorn, and he'll be relieving you of your duties. And Denethor does not like that at all. So Denethor just proves himself to be a real dick, basically. But he's the father of Boromir, and he basically lets Gandalf know, I'm well aware that Boromir is dead, and why didn't you tell me? So anyway, moving on. All right, so Pippin foolishly pledges his service to Denethor as just as payment for Boromir saving his life and then dying afterwards. And Faramir is Denethor's other son, his younger son. Boromir was his older son. Faramir is his younger son. And for some reason, I don't know what Faramir did. I don't know if Faramir just spit in Denethor's cornflakes when he was a little kid or something. I don't know. But yeah, Denethor does not like Faramir, not one bit. And so Faramir comes back and he's like, "Hey, sorry, I lost the city of Osgiliath, our outpost where we have protection. They got overrun by a lot more orcs than there were humans." And of course, then Denethor's like, since he's no fan of Faramir, he's like, "Yeah, well, you better get out there and you better protect Osgiliath. And yeah, you're probably gonna die, but I don't care because I don't like you." So there's an emotional scene where Faramir and other soldiers of Gondor, basically ride out to their deaths, and Pippin sings an emotional song to the slow motion sequence of Faramir and these guys just basically riding off to die as they try to retake Osgiliath. I thought that was a moving, emotional moment. And then since Denethor doesn't want to get reinforcements to help defend Minas Tirith, that's when Gandalf sends Pippin off on a mission to light the beacon of Minas Tirith, this big pile of wood, and just light the big beacon, and that sets off another cool sequence with a rousing Howard Shore score where all the beacons are lit across the lands of Middle-earth. And then eventually Aragorn's sitting in Edoras, and he sees the closest beacon is lit, and he runs into Edoras, or to the throne hall, and lets Theoden know that the beacons are lit. The beacons are lit. And that's when Theoden just answers back with this cool "and Rohan will answer," and it's just a cool moment. And then after that, then they assemble the horses and the men to ride off to help out Minas Tirith. And Eomer's got his glorious speech, "Now is the honor, riders of Rohan, oaths you have taken." That cool speech he does. I mean, it's God, I wanted to go to the closest horse farm, jump on a horse and just ride. I just wanted to ride, I was so pumped up after Eomer's speech right there. But they ride. They begin their trek to Minas Tirith. And then after that, they cut to Minas Tirith, and the battle begins there. The orcs and the rest of the army start attacking that mighty city. And so then they cut to the army of men, Theoden and Eomer and Aragorn. They reach the main camp of the army of men, and Aragorn gets a little visit from Elrond, the king of the elves. There, his love interest's dad, or Arwen's dad, and Elrond brings him a little gift, a little token. It's only the reforged sword of Isildur. I mean, just that, a little trinket. The sword that cut the ring off the finger of Sauron, or cut the fingers off of Sauron to release the ring. Just that. And it just basically that's when when Elrond's be who you were meant to be. Just throw away the ranger, be the king you were meant to be. 'Cause that's when Elrond's in. He's fully into the Return of the King there. So, but then Aragorn has to leave to go summon the army of the dead there, because Elrond knows that they're going to need the army of the dead to defeat the massive armies of Sauron. So he goes and does that, leaves, and that kind of deflates the rest of the men, because they just think Aragorn's just tucking tail and running, out of cowardice, which he definitely is not. But, of course, on the way out to go summon the Army of Darkness, he takes a minute to just kind of, to let down Éowyn, because Éowyn thinks that her and Aragorn are going to get together. And, Aragorn's like, sorry, not going to happen. Now, in the extended version, he lets her down a little easier. I think he says something along the lines of, since I've met, I have yearned to see you feel joy, something like that. Like, nice little thing. And the theatrical version, he's like, nope, not having it. Bye. Pretty much. So, yeah. So then Gollum steers Frodo and Sam past Minas Morgul, home of the Witch King of Angmar, to the secret stairs. And there's another cool sequence where Minas Morgul opens up. That's like the big castle that has the green glow about it, the creepy green glow about it, and the doors of Minas Morgul open, and then big old army, Sauron's army, opens up with the Witch King flying on his fell beast. Really, really cool. So cool sequence as Sam and Frodo and Gollum start climbing the secret stairs to sneak into Mordor. And they get the army of men led by Theoden and Éomer. They arrive at Minas Tirith, and then it doesn't look good for the people of Minas Tirith, because you've got the ring wraiths. They're swooping into Minas Tirith and dropping men to their deaths. The army of Sauron's got these trebuchets. They're destroying the city structure with these big rocks. And then after that, then Merry and Éowyn and Éomer and Theoden, they fight bravely. They attack the orcs, and they fight bravely. But then they look around like, holy crap, what are those big animals over there? And it turns out, there are these big elephants, these big elephants basically, coming in, and they're about to put a hurt on the old army of men, that's for sure. But then good news. Aragorn's army of the dead, they arrive, and they start kicking some major butt, and Legolas and Gimli arrive too. Legolas has a really cool, another incredible sequence like he had in the Twin Towers. There's this really cool sequence where Aragorn, yells at him to take down this Oliphant. So he climbs up on the top of this Oliphant, and he just takes down the fighters riding on it, and just takes down the whole Oliphant, and just kind of slides down the Oliphant's trunk, to a cool dismount. It's pretty badass. And then of course Gimli's like, that still counts as one, hilarious. And then you've got Frodo, back to Frodo. That treacherous Gollum leaves Frodo for dead after convincing Frodo to basically diss Sam and leave Sam by the wayside. And Frodo soon finds out that was a big old mistake, because Gollum leaves him for dead with Shelob, the massive creepy spider there. So but Sam, he's pretty soon he's like, hey, all's well that ends well, Frodo. That's all good. You chose Gollum over me, but I'll let that go. That's all good. So I'll save you anyways. And so he saves Frodo, and they eventually head to Mount Doom. Absolutely. And then so after that, the Battle of Minas Tirith has been won by the army of men, and also thanks to Aragorn and his army of dead. And Aragorn releases the army of death. He holds their oath fulfilled, and now they can finally go back to peace, because only the heir of Isildur, which is Aragorn, can release them from their oath, so that they can rest here. And then it's decided, it's determined that, okay, hey, you know what? Frodo and Sam, they need a distraction, because they got an army of 10,000 orcs between them and Mount Doom. It's going to be a little hard to get through an army of 10,000 orcs. So Aragorn and Gandalf, they bring an army to the Black Gate to distract Sauron, so Frodo can get to Mount Doom. And that's a pretty cool sequence there. And that includes the sequence with the mouth of Sauron that the theatrical version leaves out there. And then there's a cool sequence where, even though it's insinuated that Frodo and Sam are dead and Sauron already has the ring, you've got Aragorn, and he turns around to the army, and he gives that classic line, that classic scene for Frodo. And they attack the army. And it's just because, Aragorn's like, hey, they may be dead, and I'm going to die too, but I'm going to take as many of these creeps with me, right? But hey, lo and behold, Aragorn or Sam and Frodo aren't dead, and Sam carries Frodo up Mount Doom, and Frodo finally gets to Mount Doom, and he's like, yeah, not so much. I don't want to throw the ring in there. The ring is mine. But thankfully, finally, Gollum comes in handy for something and attacks Frodo, gets the ring, and then gets thrown into and falls into the fires of Mount Doom and destroys the ring, and you get the cool sequence with Sauron's creepy castle and the armies of Sauron being destroyed. Frodo and Sam, they get rescued and reunited with everyone, which is a really cool scene. Then you get the sequence. You get the cool scene where Aragorn is crowned the king, and you get this romantic sequence where he's reunited with Arwen. I thought it was kind of cool when Legolas walks up. He just kind of does the head nod, to his left, like, hey, there's somebody over there for you. You might want to check it out there, Aragorn. You might want to see her. And he looks over there, and it's Arwen, and they have this romantic moment, just really, really, really cool. And then the cool, one of the coolest moments in the movie is when King Aragorn is walking along, and he sees Sam and Frodo and Pippin and Merry, and they start bowing to him, to King Aragorn, and Aragorn's like, my friends, wow, you bow to no one. Damn, man, it hits you, just hits you right there, man. Everybody bows to them. Whew. Tears, man, tears, yeah, gets you, definitely gets you. And so then after that, they get back to the Shire. The hobbits get back to the Shire, and Sam, he's like, what? I killed a spider. I defeated a spider. I've carried Frodo up Mount Doom. I mean, I went through all this crap. You know what? If I can't go up there and ask Rosie, to marry me and whatnot, man, what kind of courage do I have? So Sam, works up the courage to go talk to Rosie, and they get married. And Frodo, realizes he just can't get back to normal. Just the year and change that he was away from the Shire, and just the trials and tribulations and near death experience, and to get the ring back to Mordor, it just had this effect on him. I mean, just the ring, it just affected him in a way that you just can't go back from. And so then Bilbo and Gandalf, and surprisingly Frodo, they end up going. Well, they go to the shores of the ocean of Middle Earth there, and it's a surprising scene for the rest of the hobbits, because they knew Bilbo and Gandalf were going to leave, but they didn't know that Frodo was going to be leaving too. And man, just another tough scene to get through. Very emotional scene. And so Frodo leaves to go to the Undying Lands with the elves. Just, gets you right in the feels, man. And so that concludes this one trilogy to rule them all. It was just fantastic. I mean, it's just perfection. It's just cinematic perfection. All the actors in this trilogy, notably Viggo Mortensen and Elijah Wood and Sean Astin. Ian McKellen, you have Liv Tyler, Miranda Otto, Carl Urban, just all kinds of just great actors and actresses in this. And then there's the visual effects. The visual effects, that's another Oscar one, is for the visual effects. And then also another Oscar one is for the fantastic Howard Shore score. And I can't rave enough about the score that Howard Shore did. And then, of course, the Annie Lennox song Into the West that they play over the end credits. That won the best song Oscar as well. I mean, it's just this movie's just crawling with Oscar wins. It's fantastic. And it deserves it. So But hey, time to wrap it up here. I want to thank you for joining me for this revisiting of this one trilogy to rule them all. And look for my next episode of Movies Merica. I can't wait to bring it to you. And as always, I am honored that you have joined me for this Movies Merica episode. And again, just feel free to forward it to your friends and your family, anybody you think that they might enjoy listening to this in their car or while they're working out or wherever they're bored at work, whatever. And so with that, as always, get out there, people. Those movies aren't going to watch themselves. Farewell.
Hey guys, don't leave the video quite yet. Okay, I've got the Popo. They're coming after me, and I don't have much time to tell you, but you need to like and subscribe this video right here, down below. It's right down there. It's just waiting. It's waiting for you down there, okay? And make sure you watch these videos over here too. You'll be doing me a big favor. I'm gonna be in handcuffs pretty soon. All right, thanks for watching.